Today I'm going to do something which I always do, which is to find a recipe that I want to make, and I don't necessarily have all the ingredients to make it. So I found this some bits of healthy chocolate chip cookie or chocolate chips in my cabinet. So I just wanted to make something with them. So I looked in the back and I saw these Sunspire bars, which are healthy bars that are sort of like those energy bars, like a power bar or something like that, and it has yogurt, vegetable oil, honey, juice, flour, toasted almonds, baking chips, and orange rind, and vanilla. So what I'm going to do is, for each of these ingredients, I'm going to replace it with something that I found in my kitchen that would be suitable. And so I've got first here quarter cup oil, actually no, half a cup of yogurt, which I did have. So I put that in here. I've got half a cup of unrefined oil. I found some almond oil. It's pretty healthy stuff, unrefined. So I got a quarter cup of that here. And 6 tablespoons raw honey. I did have that. Most people do have honey in their house. So I had my honey. 1/2 cup apple juice, which I did not have, but I had a can of pineapple right here. So I decided, okay, so pineapple apple juice is sort of has a little bit of a acidy taste, and it's sweet, sort of, so it really pops, and so does pineapple juice. So I'm going to put the pineapple juice instead of the apple. Still along the same lines, kind of healthy-ish, you know, maybe going more tropical rather than northeast or northwest. Let's see, 1.5 cups whole wheat pastry flour. So I didn't have whole wheat pastry flour, I had whole wheat flour. So what I did was, I had this tea thing where you put the tea in, let's see, you put the tea in here, and then you put it in hot water and it brews the tea. So what I did is I took my whole wheat flour and I used this as a sifter, where I kind of did this and I sifted out the chaff. And so here's the chaff that's been left over right here, and here's the flour. So it won't have that whole wheat texture-y kind of thing that is annoying with whole wheat flour, and but it'll still have that nuttiness, which is good. So first, usually what you do when you make cookies is you mix the wet ingredients all together before you put in the dry ingredients. So I'm doing that now, and you don't have to spend too much time doing it. You just kind of get it blended well together, because we're not making anything that complicated. And then you take your whole wheat flour, and this calls for 1 cup ground toasted almonds or almond flour. So we don't always have ground toasted almonds or almond flour, but almonds have almost sort of a coconutty taste if you think about it, especially raw ones. So I am going to use coconut, which I did have, and it also kind of goes well with this pineapple, sort of a pina colada-y kind of thing. So I'm going to use instead of 1 cup of almond flour or toasted almonds, I use a coconut. Now it's calling for the ingredient that inspired the whole thing, the Sunspire, healthy chocolate chips. These are healthy because they're not sweetened with sugar, they're sweetened with malted barley syrup. And I only had half a cup, turns out, that I didn't realize. And I thought, well, what am I going to do? Instead of using a full cup, I thought, okay, well, I can use raisins, because these are sweet and these are sweet, and they go together. They're both healthy, so I'm going to put it all in. It also calls for 3 tablespoons orange rind. I had an old orange that I was about to throw out, so I used it, and I sort of zested it up, and I have my orange rind. I'll probably still throw it away, but for now it's going to be going into the bar mixture. The one ingredient I did not have that is also critical to this and many other baked goods is vanilla. But I had my Muscle Milk vanilla protein powder. It's very vanilla-y. So I decided maybe I'll just use a scoop of this. So this be, healthy too. Add me some protein in here. But because it's not vanilla, it's a powder. It's not an extract. It doesn't have like a fluid consistency. I'm going to add a little water to sort of make the consistency that I need for these bars. Now, mixing it all up with a spoon here. And, you know, a lot of times the reason you don't mix these kinds of things like cookies or even pancake batter and stuff too much is because the flour starts to release gluten, and the gluten will make it very tough. The less gluten, the less gluten that develops, the less tough that this will be. When you're making bread, you want the gluten to develop, and that's why you knead it. So you knead it, knead it, knead it. The gluten develops, becomes stretchy and elastic, and then with the yeast in there, it makes bubbles. This we don't care. These are just going to be those sort of like bricks of health. So I've got a pan that I'm going to put it in, and I have this brilliant invention, this cooking spray with flour. It's amazing. You don't have to butter, flour, anything anymore. You just spray it and put this in the pan. And it's called for an 8 by 8 inch baking pan, which I don't have. This is a 9 by 9. So that means that if I actually were to spread it all out, the bars would be too thin. So what I'm going to do is spread it out to the corner here. And because of this consistency, I can actually give myself a little room, because it's not pouring. It's sort of like that. So what I can do now is it will fall a little and spread out a little bit, but if I can go ahead and give it some room here like this, it'll be good. So you see, I've made my bars. I'm going to put them in the oven at 300 for an hour, so it's sort of a low temperature, cooks over a long time, and it'll be very good. When it's done, I will show it to you. There we go. I'll be right back. Well, they came out of the oven, and I cut them into squares of about, I don't know, 2.5 by 2.5, and there are 12 of them. And they are quite good. They're very healthy. They've got that appley, even though pineapple has a pineapple-y, coconutty, tropical taste to them. A little bit of chocolate, a little bit of raisins. It's sweet, but it's really not that sweet. What I might have done was add a little bit of salt, maybe, just a little bit to set off the sugar, the little sugar that's in there. It would make it taste sweeter even without adding sugar, because salt sometimes acts like a complement